where we start a session here. But I'm like, okay, no, we're gonna answer these questions for them. So we talking about soft skills that they seem to struggle with. When it comes to, you in your practice, your business, what's the best set or starting point that you look for your clients? And what I mean by that is, sometimes people want a session or two, which, for me, I'm like, I mean, I can do that if we working on one problem and you want to run with it. But if you're really trying to dissect some things, for me, the best start is more than that. So for you, what does that look like for you to really get to the meat and potatoes, with your clients? Excuse me.
So somatic coaching goes deeply pretty quickly.
Okay.
But the way that I typically work with folks is I work with both individuals and teams. And so what we start with in the first session is creating what is known as a declaration statement. It's a commitment to your future self. And so it's really, what are you promising yourself that you will embody within the next year, for example? And that becomes the North Star. And so we chip away at that.
Okay.
So there are folks who come to me and just say, well, I'm not sure I'm going to like this. I'm like, okay, like we can start with 4 sessions. I typically work with my clients every other week because they need time to integrate and practice and see what starts happening for them. And so I might say, well, let's schedule 4 or 6 sessions. That's 2 to 3 months. And if you're not happy, I'll refund any sessions you haven't had. And, if you're happy, we'll continue, right? So typically, though, what I find is for those, since, as I was mentioning earlier, we grow up and we stay in the head. And so many of us walk around with no connection to our legs. And so we don't really have a foundation, right? We're in some ways disembodied. And so what I've noticed is the more disembodied my client might be at the beginning, those who are more disembodied tend to take about 9 months to really start to make a shift in how they show up.
Okay.
So, 9 months, every 2 weeks, that's roughly 18, 19 sessions in.
Okay. Okay.
And, so some of them, my usual package is working with folks with high touch, 12 sessions, 6 months, and then follow on sessions after that. But I have also found that with folks who are, for example, scientists, and they're really in their heads, that to get them into their body, they need additional sessions after that 6 months period. And so we might break those up, or might have maybe 3 1 week, with a week apart, just to kickstart things and to move things through. It really depends on the client. But yeah, it's one session isn't enough, because we can't really dive in. There's not enough time to fully encompass. I can do something that will make a profound impact, but it's not going to be as rich as if it's got a slightly longer time frame.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, same thing. I typically like to do 6 sessions, definitely to start. And because I just feel like you're saying, there's things that you're going to find out, and it's going to be like aha moments, right? But then now we need to, create, this plan of how we're going to go forward. Do you feel that, and I'm not sure, in your practice, do you help them create a plan, kind of going forward after you've kind of figured out what they need, to improve on, or what they're looking to improve on? Do you help them create a plan, a process to get to their said goals?
So that in some ways is very much a declaration statement.
Okay.
So the way that the declaration statement works is it is odd in English because it's I am a commitment to, which basically points to I am the embodiment of this for the sake of XYZ.
Okay.
And from that, there are conditions of satisfaction and there are actions that you can take, right? And so those actions, I'm going to start speaking up in meetings, for example, more consistently. I'm going to, as you were saying, like reaching out to those 5 people on a regular basis. I'm going to practice asking for help.
Okay.
And that's going to open up as you start practicing that, because somatic coaching holds that we are what we practice. So how you sit, walk, talk, breathe, the language you use with yourself, with others, the way you hold tension, that shapes your body physically, emotionally. It gives you a range of emotions that you're able to access easily and cuts off others. And so, but we can also learn through the body. And so that's what I'm doing with my clients each time, is just giving little doses of, okay, so the nervous system isn't comfortable with this or isn't used to this type of way of being. Let's just try it on for 15 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds, whatever happens to be right for that client. And then, okay, so come back to center, calm your nervous system, right? And then we can move. And so all of a sudden, over time, the client has more choice. And my end goal is really to work my way out of a position. Not that I haven't had clients come back, but I want them to get to a place where they feel comfortable with their own self-accountability. And that's part of how I structure my engagements typically, is 6 months of high touch with 3 sessions over 6 months at 1, 3, and 6 months for follow on, just to sort of say, okay, you've gotten used to having this handheld all the time, and now I'm going to hold it a little bit less frequently. And then pretty soon you're going to be able to cross the street on your own.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. That's definitely, something to think about and digest. I mean, because we're so mind focused and not
Mm-hmm.
body focused, and bringing our bodies into things that you just don't, until it's put in your face, you don't really think about it, right? I feel like at some point your body is just going through the motions, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
that it's been kind of taught, right? Like, for instance, and I find this, and I've learned because I switch it up, but you don't even think about which shoe you put on first, right? Or which shoe you tie up first, or what leg you put on, your pants leg you put on first, or
Yep.
shirt sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't even think about these stuff. You're kind of in autopilot, right?
Yes.
And you just do it. And so that was one thing that I was tasked not to be in autopilot. Like, think about it. Think about what it is that you have your body doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I'll switch it up. Sometimes I put my left leg in, sometimes I put my right leg in, sometimes I put
Right.
my left shoe on, like, just to get out of that and make sure that I'm thinking through my daily processes so my body and mind stay connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Amen. I mean, just think about, like, which hand do you brush your teeth with?
right.
Now try using the other hand. Whichever hand you use, try brushing your teeth with the other hand, and just see how long it takes you to get comfortable, the same level of facility that you have with your dominant hand, or the hand you're most accustomed to. It's the same thing. It's like, how are we connecting with our body, and what
I'm a little
are
bit
we
of a cheat
listening
code,
to?
I'll be honest, because I can do a lot of things with both hands.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I had to choose. So this is that crazy thing. Oh man. What happened to me when I was younger. So I wrote with both hands. Um,
Mm.
I could throw with both hands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I did a lot of things. I bowled. When I went bowling, I would bowl with both hands.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And it was like, you need to choose. People would tell me like, you need to choose a hand. And so I'm like, okay. And so some things I do with my right hand, and then some things I do with my left hand, as far as dominant. But I didn't, until of course got older and in the life we live in, I didn't really think about that. Like, man, I was told that I had to. So it was, you have to pick a hand. You have to pick your dominant side. Everyone has a dominant side. You have to pick one. Where my mind was like, no, you just do what comes to you. I was
right.
And that's that funny thing, because, thinking back in hindsight, I'm like, I was in tune with my body. My mind and my body was in tune with each other. And then you get out of it, and then you try to kind of go back. So yeah, I say that to say brushing my teeth with either hand, it doesn't really feel that uncomfortable to me. The one now eating, it does. I'll be honest. Depends on what I'm eating. I could eat a bowl of cereal or something, but like steak and trying to maneuver and cut and switch. Like, oh yeah, that's a tough one there. Oh.
Right. No, indeed. But I'm amazed because I consider myself mostly ambidextrous as well, and I had to choose. I was told to choose. It's
oh wow.
When I was playing sports, it's like, which leg are you kicking with? Which hand are you throwing with? Or I played volleyball, so spiking with. It's like I had the choice. It's like, which one do you want to use? Choose.
Yeah, it's crazy when you go back and think. And so we're basically, as youngsters, we are being molded into what others think, or put in a box of what others think that we should be doing, and not necessarily what we should be doing, which also comes back to the point of, what was the phrase that you used? Growing down? Is that what you said?
Yeah. I said, growing back down. Yep.
Growing back down. It makes a lot of sense, because that's typically what we're doing. We're getting back to the basics to then now reshape, remold, put it back together, and then now grow back up, have your body catch up with your mind. And that, once again, like what you were saying, like we could talk about just this right here for hours, right? Because we could go down a super rabbit hole of how that even happens, in the world, in media. But anyways,
I'm open if you're open. So you're driving, so you let me know where you want to go.
Maybe we should save that one for the next one. Maybe we should save that one for the next one. Because we literally could talk about that piece. We could have a whole show on that piece, right? Literally. But we definitely have to, your mind and your bodies have to be connected, and people definitely need to come to, grips, come to one, with that process. So whatever that looks like, right? Come on to us. But yeah, we're gonna save that one. But because I do want to talk about that at some point, and you'd be the perfect person to talk about that with. So we're gonna talk about it at some point.
Yes, indeed. You let me know, and I'm there.
So